Okay, I'm gonna pray for us and we'll start. Jesus, thank you so much for this friendship. Cheers, okay. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Days of Dayz podcast. I'm so glad that you're listening wherever you're doing today. Who knows, you could be on a walk in your car, wherever you are. I'm glad that you chose to listen to this today. We have a very special guest, actually highly recommended, believe it or not. And we had Sydney Briggs on the podcast in the past, but we have a new version of Sydney today. We have Sydney Tanner because Sydney just got married, like, what did you say, like 2 months ago? Yeah, but Sydney is one of my best friends. I'm so excited for you guys to hear from her today. She's just such a light and, like, literally one of the best people I know. And she has so much wisdom, so I'm so excited that you guys get to hear from her today. And just get to know a little bit about her heart because she's truly the best. So
I'm filled up.
Girl, please.
Operation.
You just wait. Okay, Sydney, take the floor. Tell us about you. What makes you you? All the things.
All the things. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Sydney Tanner. I am 23. I just moved to Dallas, Texas with my husband Sam. We got married 2 months ago. And we're from Minnesota, so straight from Minnesota. Moved to Dallas.
You're crazy.
What?
You're crazy for that?
Crazy. I know, we literally were in Grand Cayman on the honeymoon and flew straight from there to Dallas. But it's been amazing. We love it here. We love the weather. We love the sun. And a little bit about me, I own a jewelry business called Hippie-Do. It's going on 6 years, which is like
wow,
actually crazy.
Can't wait to unpack it.
I know. So I started it going into college, but yeah, it's been a really great journey, highs and lows, and a lot of learning through it all. And I'm Christian. I have 2 younger sisters. I went to STN with Avery. That's how we met.
Yes, Hawaii.
And
like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
we kind of just hit 2 years.
So sad. Like, it feels like such a monumental time.
I know.
And I also coach group fitness classes, so I love working out.
Sydney, if you think of anything, like, I promise you Sydney does. That's so funny. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Is just like, you do all the things, and I'm like, we got to get down to the drive. Like, what is driving? I meant to say this earlier, but I'm like, I've been so unmotivated to have the podcast, like, do the podcast. I literally didn't post one last week or say anything about it when I was supposed to even post, but I'm like, I just have there's no desire in me to do this, even though, like, I felt called to start this. And when you're talking about, you feel like you have a fire under your butt right now, just being like, I gotta go. I'm like, I need some of that right now because it's just like, I feel so unmotivated to do it, but I feel like somehow here we are, and I text you, I'm like, I need more people like you in my life, because you're like, let's do the podcast.
Yeah, I was like,
tell me a date,
And it works out so perfect, because Sam is at work all day, and so we just have the apartment to chat and have a girls' night. So
yeah, we got some coffee.
Yeah.
Also, Sydney has a YouTube channel, so.
Oh yes, I have a YouTube channel.
We have like 1, 2, 3. 3 cameras on us right now. She's gonna post this on her YouTube channel, so it's kind of fun. If you want to watch us, you're welcome to a YouTube channel.
We chopped her hair, and please read the comments.
All my haters,
all these
haters out there.
All these random people, maybe bots, I don't know. They're all like, next time she needs to get the 45-degree cut, like, angle.
Who is that?
And I'm like, and then they're like, but she looks great. I'm like, yeah, she looks great.
Yeah, or else I know where you live. Just kidding. That is funny. But okay, so talk about the most popular. We'll talk about Sam because we love Sam.
We love Sam.
But you did just get married. Actually start with how you guys met, because this is such a fun story.
Yes. So I graduated college, and then every summer after the end of the school year, I did this program called Cleo, which is a 9-week discipleship program. So I had just gotten done with Cleo, and I went home for the week in Minnesota because I was supposed to go to my friend Grace's cabin. And then she canceled the cabin trip, and I was so mad at her. I was like, Grace, I already bought my flight. Like, now I'm just going to Minnesota for fun. Like, obviously my family's there, which is great. But I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I go to Minnesota. I was like, okay, I'll just do all my doctor's appointments while I'm here. So I go to, the dentist. I go to get your physical, all the things. And then I go to the eye doctor because my mom was like, just get out of the house. Like, your middle sister, Alyssa, has an appointment. So just go with her and make your own appointments. So me and my 2 sisters, we all went together. And we walk in, I make my appointment, and I turn around and I see this super handsome man sitting in the waiting room. And I'm like, I want to know him. And I had known of him from high school, but like, we just never, like, our paths never crossed, but we did. It's crazy. Like there's so many coincidences and like moments where we feel like God just was like, there's such beauty in God's timing with relationships, because Sam and I had actually gone on ski trips together in high school.
That's so crazy.
But we just never talked, because it was like the high school, like girls are with the girls, guys are with the guys, and it was like the guys would wake up at like 6 a.m., take first lift, and the girls were like, I'm gonna sleep in, grab a coffee in town, and like maybe hit the slope a little bit. But yeah, so then I said hey to Sam, or I waved at Sam when I walked out of the eye doctor. And then he said hey, and my little sister was like, oh my gosh, do you know him? And I was like, no, but I should. So then, in true Gen Z fashion, I was like, oh, he's an identical twin. So I didn't know which one it was. So then I had my sister Alyssa tell me which one it was. And she
Was it like you got a better look than I did? Like.
Yes, and she knew them, like, because she was in student council with Sam, so she knew who it was in the waiting room. And so she's like, this is who it is. She screenshotted his profile. I'm giving you guys like all the down dirty of this.
No, I love it. I'm like rolling up my sleeve.
And so then I follow him, and then he, lets me follow him back, and then I see, oh, he's added his Snap in his bio, because we had the screenshot from before.
Right.
And from his side, he's like, oh, I'm being so sly, like I'm adding the Snap. And so I don't have Snapchat, so I'm like, well, shoot. And my whole family's invested in this. And they're like, you have to download Snap. So I download Snap, and I add him. And then my mom's like, you have to Snap him. And I'm like, okay, if the guy's smart, like, he'll know.
Right.
Like, he'll catch it.
Because it's all, like, when people add you on Snapchat, it's not like you go under the radar. Like, you
especially
have to see
in the same day, I'm adding on Instagram and Snap.
Come on. You were not
connect
slow.
the dots.
Yeah.
So he snapped me,
Shocker.
And then he was like, hey, we should go on a walk. So we went on a walk. I literally thought nothing of it. I was just like, I know he's a cool Christian, but I don't know to like what extent he's Christian, or like how like into like Jesus he is. What does his day-to-day look like? And so we went on this walk, and actually some of my friends were like, don't do it, like guard your heart, like don't get like your hopes up. And then, because the next day I was going back to Colorado. So went back to Colorado. He kept like reaching out to me the whole next week. And so one night I was prayer journaling, and I was like, God, I just want a man that's bold and like pursues me and just states his intentions, because I'm not like really like looking for anything, or if I am, I'm not trying to mess around. And so the next morning I woke up to a text from Sam, and he's like, hey, what are your intentions considering the distance? And I was like, oh, I was like running around my college house, and I was like, Emily, oh my gosh, because I thought I was going to have to send like the weird text of like, oh my gosh, like, I'm the weird girl that's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And so then 2 weeks later, he flew out to Colorado and took me on dates, and the rest is history.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a long story, but all the details.
No, I love it. And I remember his dad telling me at the wedding that there's pictures of you guys from the ski trip.
Yeah.
Like, a picture of you with like Sam in the back or something.
Yes, because I used to vlog in high school. It was called Soulful Vlog. A little plug.
A tiny
like
plug.
Soulful.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's in the background, and I tagged him in my like Instagram story, because when he still had Instagram, he like looked back and he's like, oh my gosh, you like tagged me in something, and I could see what it was from mine, and I was like, oh my gosh, you were in my YouTube video.
Wow.
But never talked to him.
Never talked to him.
But
Wow. But then you got married. Like, that's so crazy. I feel like girls like me that were single were like, I wonder if I've actually met my husband. You just think of those things, but I'm like, I'm sure when you thought that thought after you guys had even met, it wasn't like that one guy on the butt. Like, you didn't think like that, but it still was like you and Sam were literally destined for, like, you guys are perfect together, but then it's like, who would have known if,
I know.
I don't know, it's just so interesting.
It's crazy.
In marriage, what's something that you feel like you've learned?
Oh boy. That's a good oh boy. I feel like people honestly talk poorly about marriage, but, and it's hard, right, in a beautiful way, but there's like so much goodness, like it's God's design for us to get married. And so, I think one thing I've learned is you laugh a lot, or at least Sam and I laugh a lot, like we have fun, but then also it's very refining, and like your sin is on full display. Like, I never realized how sassy I can be, or like you're laughing, you're like, yeah,
I could have told you. I'm kidding.
You're like, I know with you, I know this. But like, I'll say something, and in my mind, it's not like a sassy tone, but like it's received, like it is sassy. So I'm like, here we are exposing myself. But I would say, yeah, it's very refining, but like so fun.
Yeah.
Like you get to live with your best friend, you get to like do life with your best friend, you get to just like create all these memories and do stuff. It's really fun.
Also, I think what's fun, I always told other people this, but I don't know if we've actually really talked about this, is like when I would tell people, yeah, then it's like literally right after Sydney gets married, she's moving to Dallas.
Yes.
And they're like, what? Like it's so far, Minnesota to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, no, like I feel like that sounds great because then you move away and you like are literally creating your life together because you're like, you come somewhere that you don't know anybody and it's like you have to figure out your new norm in a lot of different ways rather than, okay, now we're still home with like our families and like figure out that and like literally you just like derooted and are like planted together somewhere, which I think is really cool. But would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I think
awesome.
it's so great and such a blessing.
Would you recommend?
Oh yeah, I think it's great. It's a lot of change, which I don't mind change. I think the hardest part of moving here has been work, just having a plethora of jobs.
Yeah.
It has been hard to find routine, so the marriage has been easy compared to like the uncertainty and scheduling of jobs.
Right.
I would say that.
That's interesting. Speaking of work, hippie do you? Look at that transition.
Hey.
You gotta love her.
Jewelry.
Okay, so Sydney also has a jewelry business. Have we talked? I don't know if I've mentioned that, but it's called Hippie Do You. It isn't great. You should so look into it. But I just told her a story about my aunt. Actually, I was over last night, and she went out of town this past weekend. And she's like obsessed with Hippie Do You. Like she like will order. Sydney came when she came to like house night and all the things. She brought a bunch of Hippie Do You to her house and she like got to shop in person. We did. That's I was like, wait, why do we have that?
OTC G5 person.
If you're listening. But I was like, she's been so into Hippie Do You ever since. So she went out of town this past weekend and forgot some earrings at her aunt's house. And she was like, I had to have her mail them to me. She's like, it would have been any other earrings, like I wouldn't have cared, but they were my Hippie Do You ones, so I had to have them back.
So cute.
But it's true because they're amazing quality. But how did Hippie Do You start? Tell us, like your heart behind Hippie Do You. So
I feel like as long as I can remember, I've always been creative, like thinking outside the box, as I say.
Yeah.
Like a story my dad always tells is when I was a little girl, they had a neighborhood garage sale and I wanted to set up shop and sell my art. And so my dad was like, okay. So we set it up. I think I was 5.
Okay.
So very young.
Very young, yeah.
So I set up a little table and my dad goes up to some of the people like shopping. He's like, hey, here's $5-10. Like go buy some of my daughter's art. So they buy it from me and all of a sudden I sell out. And I'm like, Dad! This is amazing! And so then I go inside, I ditch the table, and my booth, I gotta make my booth, but I ditch it, and I'm inside scribbling away, like, I'm like,
more products,
yeah, I am like, this is amazing. And my dad was like, oh no, I've created a monster.
Yeah,
like,
he had no idea.
Yeah, but I think that's just a really sweet story of like, just from the beginning, it's always felt very natural, and so one of my best friends from high school, Savannah, we just started making chokers together and selling them on Instagram stories, and eventually we just kind of stopped. And I found the supplies again like a couple months later, and I was like, Sav, what do you want me to do with it? And she's like, do what you want, like, we can just split the money we made. I was like, great. So I just started, making them again, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to be that annoying girl that's always selling on Instagram.
Here she is.
But I am today. But I talked to my parents, and I had just graduated high school, and I was like, what should I do, like my own website, or should I do an Etsy? My dad was like, Etsy is the lowest barrier to entry. Like, it's like 20 cents to post a listing. It's free to open a shop.
Awesome.
So, and you get exposure to all these great customers. So just, start there and see how it goes. The first day I got 7 sales, which isn't like normal, but it was from family and friends, and I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And the name came about because it was actually my Finsta in high school.
Right. You gotta love her.
Yes. So I don't know. It's just kind of stick. It's unique. It's funky, and I would say my style is more like boho, hippie. I don't know, whatever. And so then from Etsy, it grew. I joined a sorority, and all of a sudden, all the girls at chapter were like, "Oh my gosh, I want a pair of your tassel earrings." They're called the Halo tassels, and I sold them for $12, which is literally probably how much they cost to make. But I was like, I don't care, like whatever.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot in pricing your products correctly. We can talk about that. But Halo tassels, sold a ton of those. And then from there, just through being in Greek life, it just really expanded and grew, and it was cool. I'd be on campus seeing girls wearing my stuff, and yeah, and now it's kind of just blown into what it is now. And last January, Avery and I freaking slaved away at Seek.
Never forget.
Never forget. Like 11-hour days. Yeah, and that was the craziest experience probably of my business history.
How long, how many years has it been?
It's coming up on 6.
6.
Yeah.
Wow.
It might already be 6.
That's like actually really long time.
I know.
What keeps you motivated? I feel like a lot of people start things, but then
Yeah.
like a year later they're like, forget it. Like it isn't where they want it to be, or it isn't.
Yeah.
So they just give up.
If
So
I'm
like,
being-
what keeps you going?
If I'm being honest, I don't even, like, hippie to you isn't where I want it to be right now.
Right.
Like 6 years
You're
in.
like never satisfied.
No,
Stay hungry out there.
Yeah, it's not where a person would hope their business would be 6 years in. But then I look back at the 6 years and I'm like, okay, I studied abroad. Like somebody else had to run the business for me. I was in an 8-hour different time zone. Like I wasn't as connected with the business.
Right.
So that was a couple months away. And then we did Surfing the Nations and same thing. Like it's just like I wasn't as connected or involved. I couldn't put my efforts into marketing and stuff. And so honestly, 6 years in, there's like things where I'm like, it's really easy to compare with other businesses of like, oh my gosh, they're only like 4 years old, but they're full time, you know? And so I would say there's much growth to be done, but it's not good to compare because like God's got us on our own journey of like where our business is supposed to be. But I would say how I stay motivated. Well, Sam has been a great asset because he's the most like inspired, motivated, dedicated.
Yeah.
Great example is when I was in Hawaii, I was freaking out because I was like, had just kind of started getting into working out, and I was
Stop. I know what you're gonna
I was like, there's no gym, Sam. Like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, don't worry about it. Check your email. And all of a sudden, I have a whole spreadsheet of like, I don't know how many workouts were on that thing.
Oh, entirely too many. I gotta tell this side of my story. Okay, my story. So you keep going.
So he has this whole spreadsheet of WODs, like Warrior of the Day workouts that we can do. Okay, now you
Okay, so I meet Sydney, right? We had followed each other on Instagram. We didn't actually know each other, but like, hey, we're about to go to Hawaii together. Like, we should follow each other, like, get each other a vibe, like, you know, whatever. We're like, there's gonna be a bunch of weird people here. And we were like, no, like, she's cool, whatever. So we meet in the airport, and we're like, we gotta like work out while we're here. Like, you know, we're like, yeah, let's do this. Wake up early. Okay, so we're like 4 days in, and she tells us her and Sam started dating like a month before we went to Hawaii also.
Yeah.
So we were about to be there for 3 months, and it's like, yeah, we've been dating a month. We were all kind of like, wow, like that's pretty impressive. But like now you're not going to see him for an entire month, but you're long distance anyway, whatever. Anywho, so we like, oh, like Sam's awesome, you know, like we're Team Sam, and we like show up. We got a whole gang to meet up with us in the morning. Yeah, at that point it was Tim. I guess it grew. This is probably the first time we were like, okay, so she's like, look how sweet this is. And I'm like, I just rolled out of bed. It's like 6 a.m. Hawaii time. But they're like, I was in bed.
Boyfriend.
Look what my boyfriend did. And I was like, oh, what is it? It's like, run 6 miles and then do 20 burpees. And I'm like, yo, I'm sleeping in tomorrow. I was like, and she was like, it is so cute. Like, I was so stressed about this. And I'm like, okay. I actually told that story at your rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still not the same, but I'm like, that's just how they function. Like, they're just so dedicated. And Sam knew that about her. That, like, she was worried about doing the gym, so he literally created all these weight workouts. Literally wake up and be like, what's the workout today, Sam?
Yeah,
like,
seriously, core memory is there was this like concrete table, like circular table, and it was like pull-ups, but we don't have a bar. And so Tim's like, well, let's just go under and pull up. So we remove all the chairs and everyone's like under this concrete table, like
that day there was like 8 of us because we were like shoulder to shoulder, like
Matilda, we got Keenan, we got Cletus, we got Tim, me, Cal, you, Lydia.
All of us. That is so funny.
Oh, and then remember one time we did it under the garage. I'm telling you guys.
What can we pull off? Like, see that tree?
STN will bond you.
It will, absolutely.
I remember the first couple of days, Avery and I were like, I think I'm about to have a panic.
We didn't even know each other, and I'm like crying to Sydney. I'm like, I have to go home. Like, this is not okay.
Like 2 days in, it was like a worship night. You text Lydia.
I'm like searching for flights, like in the middle of this, like, last thing. Like, what did happen?
Like, you were like, I text in the middle of our story, you're like, hey, like, if you guys could come out here, and then all of a sudden you just like lay your life.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
It was so sweet.
I was like, I had to leave. I didn't know them, but I'm like, somebody here has to know actually who I am.
Yeah,
I like spilled it. You guys were like, okay.
No. But it takes vulnerability to become friends. So that was really special. And then I feel like you just formed the trio. Like, it was just...
Oh yeah, we were like inseparable. Still are. We're like inseparable after all that. Dude, that was...
I was so off track there, but...
I'm like, what were we even talking about? I don't know. Who cares?
Motivation. Okay.
Motivation.
I feel like... Here's what I think. I have always like been like into sports and stuff, right? Like when it comes to working out motivation. And so like I did track in high school and stuff. And so in college I kind of stopped working out, but I never like got out of shape really. I just was like not like actually fit. I wasn't strong. I was just like myself, whatever. And so when I started working out, I just started going like 3 times a week, and I thought that was hype. Like I was like, this is awesome. And then slowly it built up. And now it's been like almost 3 years that I've been working out very consistently. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, well, that's kind of cool to see like the progress. And I can tell a huge difference even in my body. Like it's still like, I'm still like the same, but like the definition's different. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's cool to see like the physical change of things. So then working out, I'd say like not every day I want to go. Like I didn't want to go yesterday to the gym, but I was like, I know I'm gonna be so thankful that like I got up, I did the thing, and like you never regret it. And sometimes I show up and I'm like, honestly, I'm gonna go 50%, but I'm here. Like I showed up, I got here. Like getting to the gym's the hardest part.
It's like a mental thing.
It is. Just getting dressed, I'm like, oh. But then there's days where I'm like, this is the best thing ever, and you like go so hard. But for my business, I feel like it's just highs and lows. Like and like steady state in a way. It's like sometimes I'm feeling super motivated for my business, kind of like I am now. Like I'm so on fire, I'm so excited. And I think it's because we have marketing interns right now, and they have so many amazing ideas, and we created an amazing game plan. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, for the next 3 months, I know the plan we're gonna do, and like we get to like put it into action. But then there's times where I feel like super in a funk and just like discouraged and all the things, which is really common for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And so I would just say like, just like one step forward, like day after day, you know, just like not stopping. I remember, do you know Haley Pham on YouTube?
Maybe kind of rings a bell.
She did YouTube for 6 years before she started like becoming more known, and now she has like millions of followers. I remember hearing that, and she's like, you just have to love it. Yeah. Like every day, like she's like, obviously there was weeks I didn't want to post, but like I just did because I was like, I'm just gonna post. Like I love this, even if I'm not feeling it. And now she has to do it full time. Like she's, you know, quadruple millionaire. Right. So
that's like Danny Austin. She was talking about the other day. She had like her I don't know what it was, but she was just talking about like her time on the internet, and she started YouTube in college, and it's like people would send her videos, like Snapchats of the other sororities, like watching her YouTube videos and just like making fun of her and like, but she just knew that that's where she was called, and she just had to like keep going no matter what other people said. And now like look at her, it's like everybody wants to be Danny Austin, but
I remember my first business was a photography business, because I was like, I take photos for fun, like I might as well make this a business. And I remember I was in the lunch line in high school, and a guy came up to me and he's like, it's really funny that you think you're gonna actually have a photography business. No. And I just was like, okay, whatever. And like I booked like multiple senior sessions that summer, so I was like, I could care less what he thinks. Yeah. And I've never really been a huge people pleaser, but it's still like people like just, I don't know if it's like they are like, how could this person be doing this? Or like it's so out of the box for them. It challenges them. But yeah, it's crazy. Some of the people we like look up to now on social media were like, bullied or
like they had to take they had to start somewhere too. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Wait, kind of talk about you kind of talked about fitness a little bit. First, talk about all the things you do. Just name a list of.
Like my jobs right now, or just like my passions?
Do both. Start with your jobs and then talk about your passions.
So currently, my job situation, which I hope to refine in like minimize soon is I work part-time at a church in Dallas Monday, Wednesday, Friday as a faith formation admin, and I honestly really love it. It's like a combo of event planning and then like emails, so it's super chill. And then I do Hippie DU, which is so fun, obviously, love her. And then I started a YouTube channel because I thought it'd be fun to just document life, and honestly I just love editing videos, so I was like, this is perfect. And then I work front desk at the gym I work out at because I wanted a free membership and I can work while working front desk. And then I coach F45 classes, and then I coach at Jungle too in Dallas, but I haven't officially gotten the schedule. I'm going to probably next month though.
Nice.
So
yeah, I'm stressed. But you just do it all. But then you still make time for like your husband, for friends, for all the things. You still go to like Bible studies and try new things that just like about living here. Okay, now talk about your passions.
Okay, my passions. Well, I guess some of them are in there, but like Hippie DU, YouTube, working out. I think the coolest thing ever is like seeing people's like transformations when they like set a goal.
Yeah.
And then like you get to like help them through that journey. It's really cool, and just like people, like we all have things we're working through, hurdles we're trying to get through, and just like seeing people vulnerably go through them is really cool. Like this one guy was saying like, I can't give up drinking, and then it was like, okay, well, like let's just try to like get it down from like 5 nights a week. Like he was just having like a sip of whiskey to like 3 nights a week, and then 2, and then it's like, okay, what if you just do once a week, but it's like really nice whiskey, but like, you know. And so kind of cool because for him, he's like a bigger guy and he like wants to like lose a bunch of weight for his health. So
You're like, we can help you with that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's really just like improving people's. You're also really passionate about clean living.
Yes.
I love picking your brain about this. I want you to kind of talk about this because.
How have I forgotten about this? I mean, it kind of goes into fitness in a way. I feel like what sparked clean living was honestly when we lived in Hawaii.
Don't take us back.
But like, please do.
But also, yeah.
So acne has always been something I've really struggled with, like since 7th grade. I've been on birth control, I've been on Accutane, all the things. I had just gotten Accutane before Hawaii, and then I went to Hawaii, and a month-ish in, we were on this thing called Inner Island where you're like 10 days backpacking, whatever, on Kauai, and I don't know what happened, but one day I just woke up and I had all these bumps all over my face, and Avery can attest. Clean living. So Inner Island, literally, I'm not even exaggerating, like I actually almost had a panic attack when we were watching Finding Nemo, because I just remember we were sitting there and I just was like shaking because I was just like, I have no control over this. Mm-hmm. I have done everything in my power to get rid of this, and it keeps coming back, and I'm just like, what can I do? So we get back from this Inner Island trip, and I call my grandma, and she used to be a nurse, and so she was like, I feel like you should just like clean house, like, you know, go super clean eating. And literally everyone and their mother, it seemed like, had like a different like eating style.
Vegan, pescatarian,
gluten-free, everything. So I was like, okay, well this is easy, because we would a lot of times cook together. So I was like, well, I'll just go gluten-free, dairy-free, pescatarian.
Yeah.
And so for a whole year I did that, and my acne got, like, the hives went away, but they never, like, my acne was always still there. Uh-huh. And so I'm also really stubborn about medicine. Like, I didn't want to go to the dermatologist and go on an antibiotic because I had done a bunch of research about like gut health, your microbiome, and I was just like, I don't know, like, I don't think this is like the way to go, because antibiotics like really damage your gut, which there can be like goodness in that because it's like healing your skin, but I was like, I want to heal this like naturally, because I've put so many drugs in my body for acne, and like I want to find a solution that's like long term, not something that's just like a quick fix. And so I was really stubborn, and then for like a whole another year after that, just like would still get acne and like really struggle. And I remember like during engagement, like I was really struggling because I was just like, what can I do? Like, I've tried everything. Like, I eat cleaner than anyone I know. I don't eat sugar. Like, I don't eat all these things that inflame our body, but yet I'm still having acne. And actually, after meeting with an allergist, he told me that like eating fish was hurting me because of all the mercury.
Really?
So he told me like, hey, you need to go on this like kind of opposite diet. He's like, you need to eat from the land. He's like, you need 50% of your plate to be vegetables, a quarter carbs, and a quarter protein, which I feel like most people are like, protein, like you really need a lot of protein, but he said vegetables because they're like so amazing in nutrients and vitamins. And then he also told me to pray before every meal and don't go on your phone and just like sit and like think about like, wow, this food was like from the earth. Like this food, like a farmer harvested, and it got a lot better in that. And he also had me take digestive enzymes, probiotics, prebiotics, fish oil. And so it was an all natural plan. So he was a great doctor in Minnesota. And then from that, I kind of just like grew a lot in my understanding of like, okay, like our gut microbiome, like what does this mean? And like, how does the food we eat affect this? And it kind of just went hand in hand with like exercising too. Like, and then from there, I would say I started more on the food side, like clean eating. And then now I'm more into clean products, because the same thing, like we have 3 major intestines, organisms, or intestines, yeah. It's our skin, our gut, and there's another one, but I'm forgetting. Your gut is like, gut health right now is so big.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the buzz, right?
Yeah.
But our skin is the biggest organ on our body, and it takes in things in 30 seconds. And so with makeup, I started kind of getting like icked out when I was putting makeup on, because I was like, oh my gosh, like this is seeping into my skin. And I remember my friend Mari was like, this could be the thing that's causing you acne. Like these chemicals that these companies use that like aren't even verified, like could be the source. And so I was like, okay, I'll try clean makeup. Love it. So that's Crunchy, and I'm a rep for them. And then within skincare, I did the same thing. Like I was like, I don't want these like big pharmacy like prescriptions. I want like from the earth. And I feel like honestly, it like matches and aligns with the Bible. Like everything's from the earth, like from God. So I think it's honestly really beautiful learning about it. But then I became a rep for Oliveda, and it's been amazing. So.
In your skin, I can attest. If you're not watching the YouTube video, her skin does look amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like so impressed.
Yeah.
But I think it is so cool, and I totally believe in that too. Just like I feel like I've learned a lot from you. Things I feel like a lot of things that I learned, I'm like, oh, I've never thought about this, and she's like, oh yeah, your perfume can mess up your hormones or something. Just like things that I'm like, how do you know that? But you like listen to podcasts, and it's like everything. Yeah. It's like verified, like you've researched.
Yes, it's all verified. It can be overwhelming though, and like I want to share it, but I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh,
doing
like
life wrong.
No, like where's the yes, you know? And it's more so like, I'm not saying everyone should just like clean slate, like get rid of everything. It's more of like, hey, like slowly start implementing. Like this has been like a 3-year process now, and so, well, more like 2. So now it's like a lot easier for me to like live this way.
My boss is a lot like that. Dana, she's gonna be on the podcast soon. Spoiler. But I feel like I've learned a lot from her too. And just because we do so much life together, it's like I'm with her all the time. Yeah. And so it's like she'll just do things and I'm like, oh, like body wash. I wouldn't think that, but I'm like, obviously I'm putting it on my skin. Like it absorbs in 30 seconds, and like just crazy things that I don't ever really think about. But also I had this moment a couple months ago because my mom got her hormones checked, and they were like off, and the medication that they gave her was lotion, and it was like she was supposed to put it on her forearm before bed every night or something, and it balanced her hormones, like it worked for her. But I'm like, that's actually crazy, because I'm like, she's using lotion to fix herself, but I'm like, I will put lotion all over my body, and I'm like, I don't know what is in that, or like the scent or the whatever it's made of. I don't even know, but I'm like, I'm putting it all over my body, so that means it's going into my blood, and that means it's messing it, like
we're all just honestly walking balls of inflamed like bodies, like
it's crazy
from our products, from our food. Like the reason why we eat so much gluten now is because of the flour mill that came out during the war. In a book. So they needed cheap food and bread, and like boomed during that time. The flour mill came out super easy, because before then they would just make sourdough, and like it took a while to make a loaf of sourdough. Like you see all these homestead moms on Instagram now making this sourdough bread, and it takes them like a good hot minute and like very intricate detail. And so from that, like they've seen like a super big increase in all these like different diseases, because it's like our body are not supposed to ingest this paste. Like it's not good for us. And so like even though people are celiac, I honestly think everyone should limit gluten, because so many diseases, cancers, viruses like will go away from it. Like it's been proven. It's crazy.
That's so crazy.
And just like also inflammation, like when I look 2 years ago at my face, it was way more circular, and I have a circular face, but now like there's more definition in it because I'm less inflamed from eating less gluten. So it's so crazy.
I can actually totally stand by that. I feel like I feel like mine's more dairy. I haven't really noticed gluten, but I feel like I try to stay away from dairy. But then like if I do eat it, I notice my face is like more swollen, or just like my body kind of feels like swollen. But
and the reason that like products are so important, like for your skincare nighttime routine, is that when a product is water-based, it can oxidize, so it needs a preservative in it, which a preservative, they're all inflammatory because they're vegetable oil, canola oil, like all these different things that stabilize, and they're cheap, and so it's just like, oh, we'll just throw this in to stabilize with, even if a product, it has like really good ingredients, if it still has like that vegetable oil or preservative in with the water, like it's gonna inflame you. You know?
What?
And so that's why like Oliveda is so great, because hydroxytyrosol is the alternative that's using, and it's like all natural from an olive tree, you know?
Wow.
And so kind of cool. But
yeah, because we were just talking about that like off mic about the olive, what is it? It's olive leaf?
Yeah, so they take an olive leaf and they like ground it and extract it, and like all the nutrients come from it.
Wow.
Again, I'm just saying,
That's
God, like,
yeah,
seriously, that one verse, and it's like, I am the branch, you are the vines, whatever, like.
It's like, you were
God,
literally. Give me that plant extract.
Yeah, but like, so many women like have seen results where like their acne goes away because it's like not being irritated by those preservatives and fillers.
Okay, tell us where all we can find you.
Okay. I'm like, YouTube is Sydney Tanner. And then Instagram is Sydney.Tanner. Pinterest is HippieDU. And TikTok is HippieDU. I think that's it, right?
Yeah. Or you're a rep for...
Oh, I'm a rep for Oliveda, aka Olive Tree People, and Crunchy Makeup. So they're both linked in my highlights. And they're like products that I tried first before becoming a rep. Like it wasn't like... It was like something where I'm like, well, I love this. I want others to see these results, so like I'm gonna rep it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I will say, back to HippieDU type stuff. She's also HippieDU on Instagram. Yeah. But I feel like you do a really good job of just being super vulnerable and real in your stories. And so if you are trying to start a business, or you just need some encouragement, or like even behind the scenes, I feel like you share a lot of behind the scenes of what like a day in life truly is like. And it's not all rainbows and sunshines. And I feel like you're good of like explaining that and just being real.
Thank you.
So, HippieDU, she's great to follow, even if you're not into jewelry, even though how could you not be into jewelry? But you should be into jewelry, and you should follow HippieDU. Even just like watching her stories, she does I can talk to you. I'm like, she talking to them. Yeah. But I feel like you do a really good job with that. So
thank you.
Give her a follow, you know, I'll link them
all the crazy.
In the what's it called? In the bio. In the bio. I'll link in the bio. In the bio. Also, just repeating again, we will be on YouTube. We post YouTube videos on Thursdays. So check this. I'll post this podcast on a Monday, but she'll post YouTube on a Thursday.
So if you're starting this and you're hopping in your car and you want to listen to a podcast, you can do Dayz with Dayz, and I'll take it below.
Dayz with Dayz. Look at that. Plug for plug. We love it. Okay, well, don't you just love her? Sydney is the best. I'm so thankful that you're on the podcast today.
I'm honored to be back.
We're so glad to have you back as Sydney Tanner. How funny. I like
in the flesh.
In the flesh in Dallas. It's just so much better. I literally wrote Sydney Tanner. I was like, Sydney. Oh, girl, Tanner. So fun. But that's a wrap for today. Until 2 Mondays from now.
Ooh.
Peace.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
That was good. That was fun too. I feel like we hit all the points. Good transitions.
Who called me?
Thanks for coming.